There are some facts that we take for granted, like grass is green, the sky is blue, moles are blind, or not. Now I'm gonna bust them, most common myths about animals that do not cause any doubt. Are you ready to be surprised? How can you recognize a zebra? By its black and white stripes, of course. But do you really know it seems more correct to say that the zebra is black with white stripes? Besides, the embryo has a dark color and the light areas appear later by deactivation of the melanocytes. But what for? The popular myth says the black-white coat is like a tool camouflage themselves from predators. Now, scientists believed that the different heating of the black and white areas create currents of air. They help to regulate the body temperature to make living a hot region much more comfortable. The elephants are one of the greatest myth collectors, you know. Have you ever heard the reproach like, "Why are you so noisy like an elephant?" The funny thing is that you'll doubtfully ever hear an elephant approaching. As it is almost completely silent despite their huge weight. The fact is that elephants' feet are covered in a soft padding. It helps to support their weight, as well as preventing them from slipping and dulling the sound of their footsteps. Do you remember the fascinating story about Dory the fish? The poor thing couldn't remember anything several seconds later. So there is one very strong myth that some fish have very poor memory. For example, goldfish can't remember what they did 3 seconds ago. But they're far from being memory challenged. Scientists say they are not only capable of learning. Besides, goldfish also keep what they learn in their memory for long periods of time, as other fish do. Here comes the great and terrible, the shark. And you can find several myths about this creature. The most persistent myth is that this monstrous thing can smell a single drop of blood from a mile away. No, it cannot. Yes, sharks have a highly developed sense of smell, but it's not quite that discerning. Sharks actually have roughly the same sensitivity as other fish do. One more myth about sharks is that they will suffocate and lose their life if they stop swimming. The reason is that all sharks lack swim bladders. However, if they stop swimming, they will sink to the bottom, but not suffocate. The truth is, sharks can pump oxygen-rich water over their gills without swimming. Let's stop talking about monsters. Just look at this cute chameleon, and you of course heard about its way of changing colors. And you know that it changes color to blend into their surroundings. But the truth is that these reptiles are just extremely moody. The creature has specialized cells in their skin called chromatophores, and shade shifts reflecting how combative, amorous, or frightened a chameleon feels. What a tricky method to show creatures around you that you're not in the mood to hang out. This is an ostrich, and a long-playing legend that the bird hides its head in the ground when it's frightened. It has had 1,938 years to spread. It was the Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder who wrote about it in his Natural History. But actually, the habit to bury their heads in the ground is connected to many very important issues, from swallowing sand and pebbles to aid their digestion, or turning over the eggs they lay in their terrestrial nests. And now let's look at this marvelous animal, the camel. Guys, are you sure that they store water in their humps? Of course, they store something, but it's not water at all. The humps actually contain fat, which camels can use for energy. The humps contain the equivalent of 3 weeks' worth of food. The feature is also used for body temperature regulation. Many camels prefer hanging out at the hottest spots, you know. What thought comes to your mind when you see the baby bird on the ground? Oh, I can't touch it, otherwise its mom will reject it. This is also a very persistent myth. But the truth is, birds recognize their offspring the same way we do, by using the baby's appearance and sound. Contact with us humans won't have any bearing on whether a bird will continue to care for its young. In reality, a mother bird will not even know her baby has been handled by you, as birds in general have a poor sense of smell. There we have it. Owls are tremendously impressive birds, you know. The more impressive the creature, the more storytelling is around it. Sure, you are sure to have heard that owls can look straight ahead, to turn ahead 360 degrees and look forward again. But it's physically impossible for any creature on the planet. Yes, owls can turn 270 degrees to the right and left. They have a 540-degree range of motion, which makes the 140-degree human range of motion, we have a mere 70 degrees in either direction, seem pretty puny. One more myth is that owls are extremely smart. One study found that great gray owls repeatedly failed a simple cognitive test, pulling a string to get a treat. This test has been solved successfully many times by several other bird species, Of course, owls are dumb as a stick, but there's nothing much to write home about. What do you think of moles, those blind, invasive rodents that eat your plants? Here are just 2 mistakes in the question. Firstly, moles are not rodents at all. It means they aren't constantly gnawing to keep their teeth from growing. In fact, moles have spike-like teeth that are specifically designed for their underground lifestyle. Besides, moles are not blind. In fact, they are colorblind and see very poorly. They can only detect light and movement. They have special little movement and scent sensors on the tip of their nose to find prey and other moles. And that's enough for living underground. Here is one more unforgettable myth that bulls charge when they see the color red. The truth is that bulls do charge at red, but they also charge at every other color too. In fact, bulls are colorblind to red and green. So it's not color that enrages them, rather it's a movement for that matter. It can get them fired up. Oh, I nearly forgot to mention one more misconception that dogs see in black and white. This has been a belief since the 1920s, but the real truth is that dogs can see yellow and blue. So they are colorblind in the same way that some humans are colorblind. Their eyes have 2 types of color receptors, or cones, as opposed to the 3 that the average person does. Once you start to talk about pets, I continue talking about them. Do you feed your cat with fish? If you've ever watched cartoons, you may have seen that cats are always shown to be obsessed with eating fish. They are not. Fish is not a natural food for cats. They are hunters in the wild, not fishers, except occasionally. Besides, cats cannot digest or metabolize fish well. But they do eat fish because of us, humans. Cats developed a taste for fish when they were lured by ancient Egyptians. Talking about cats, I cannot help but mention mice. We know from childhood that mice love cheese and it makes a great bait for mousetraps. But any pest exterminator or pet shop owner knows mice don't really like cheese at all. Besides, they'll even actively shy away from certain types of cheese. Mice have a very sensitive sense of smell, and certain cheeses give off odors that are repulsive to many types of mice. How did the myth that mice like cheese get started? Nobody knows. The mystery dates back centuries. And the last but not least misconception that when sting, all bees lose their lives. To begin, not all bees sting. Males across species cannot sting. What is more, those species which can sting, the honeybee, is the one that is likely to lose its life after stinging. It happens because the honeybees have what's known as a barbed stinger. They can sting other insects and survive, but the stinger cannot cope with thick skin of mammals. Queen honeybees, solitary bees, bumblebees, and other species have smooth stingers that can sting mammals repeatedly. So honeybees are evolutionarily not so lucky as other bee species are. That's enough of truth-revealing content for you today. Write down below what myths from my list did you really believe. There is a great number of amazing things in life, but some of them you can see right now. Just go to Amazing Things channel to watch them. I'm sure you'll enjoy the videos there. See you soon.